Okay, Norio, it is part 3 of our interview. Please join me here at our quiet study room, and we will continue with our ongoing interview here. So, Norio, on November 7th, 1989, thousands of people in Belgium reported seeing a large black triangle hovering above the city of Brussels. The craft was seen shining searchlights down to the ground. Which defense contractor do you believe built this craft, and what was the propulsion system?
Well, actually, I think it was basically the bulk of the Belgium sighting took place in 1990.
Okay.
Yeah. There may have been some sightings in 1989, I'm not sure, but basically the bulk of the Belgium triangle, sightings started basically in 1990. And it's difficult to say what these were. Actually, these were almost silent triangular aircraft, dark triangular aircraft that were spotted by thousands of people in Belgium, and including police and so on, and even the Air Force, Belgian Air Force allegedly started chasing after these black triangular craft. And the bottom line is that, yes, there have been so many reports, and suddenly something was there, and some people say these were not terrestrial craft, but some kind of extraterrestrial craft of some kind. And speculations are, there's quite a lot of speculations on what they were, but the bottom line is that even now, there's no single credible, authentic photograph taken by some residents in Belgium of this triangular craft. Now, there was this one famous photograph that was taken by a citizen in 1990 in Belgium that showed this black triangular craft with 3 lights on each of the corner of the triangular craft. But later, a few years later, the photographer admitted that he made it up. So this doesn't mean that there could be other possible authentic photographs, but it's very difficult to come up with any authentic photographs of these objects. But does it mean that this didn't happen? No, it very likely happened. So the point is, were they extraterrestrial or man-made? If it's man-made, then some kind of defense contractors may have been involved with a new kind of triangular aircraft, and that's the speculation that is very popular. And so, you have to also realize that in 1989, there was a sighting of a black triangular object in the northern seas, near an oil rig off the shores. That was reported by credible eyewitnesses, like military aviation specialists say that they witnessed this flight of this strange aircraft, that some of them thought maybe this could have been the so-called alleged Aurora aircraft, that came around 1989, 1990. So, again, the bottom line is that we still have to rely on physical evidence and definitive photographic confirmation of these things. But so everything else is speculation.
So Norio, getting back to what you were talking about earlier, 1990, you were talking about the Belgium Air Force, and yes, the F-16s from the Belgium Air Force did not get a visual on the triangle, but they did get it on their radar. and they clocked it doing 40G maneuvers. So I guess the question is, looking at the eyewitness testimony, multiple witnesses said that they could see pipes and cylinders and a mechanical structure on the underside of this vehicle. What is the purpose of that, Norio, and why are these craft seen shining spotlights down to the ground?
Yeah, that's a mysterious question. You know, first of all, a highly advanced physical spacecraft from outer space, I don't see any need for having some kind of pipes or any kinds of complicated structure,
right.
you know, shown outside the craft or underneath that craft. It seems to me like very archaic technology, you know, some pipes sticking out and so on. So advanced extraterrestrial civilization would not use that kind of materials and configurations to travel at such high speed from, allegedly, from outer space. And so that there is that question there that has to be addressed, and I can't, you know, all I can say is that maybe they did this on purpose to make us believe that they are physical extraterrestrial technology. Maybe they want to convince us, you know, so it's very difficult to say.
Okay, so let's just say it is a man-made craft, defense contractor. Let's talk about chain of command. If the public isn't briefed about it, which they won't be, and the pilots aren't briefed about it, the F-16 pilots didn't know what they were chasing because they were just trying to go after this thing, get a radar lock, they didn't know what it was. If the generals aren't briefed on it, then who is briefed on it? Who does have a need to know about these programs?
Well, the bottom line is that I believe that in the Pentagon, there have been many, many military officials that had been acquainted with this modern day UFO sightings that started around after 1945, actually. But so far, there doesn't seem to be any definitive, you know, conclusions as to what these things are. And so, even if they have a yearly congressional hearing,
right.
You know, we have this thing called congressional hearing every year. Last year, this year,
right.
Several years ago. It happens every year, but yet, the bottom line is we have not been shown any kind of physical, tangible evidence of these craft, and that is still a mystery to me. But of course, this does not mean that they don't exist. I mean, the bottom line is, what is reality? You know, that's the basic questions, the basic questions that need to be addressed. And the Pentagon is not united in the assessment of this strange phenomenon, because some among the Pentagon, some Pentagon officials have some kind of a spiritual-oriented interpretation of this phenomenon. The other groups within the Pentagon seem to be convinced that these are definite physical extraterrestrial intelligence showing themselves to us and you know, making us, you know, convinced that we are being visited by physical extraterrestrial entities. So again, there is no definitive unity among the military officials who have been involved in this phenomenon from the onset.
Norio, let's get back to the congressional hearings here a bit. You were talking about this year and last year. Why is it that we've had these whistleblowers come forward and they're allegedly supposed to be briefing senators and congressmen in Washington, D.C. in the skiffs, as they call them, and after the briefing, we don't hear anything about it? I There's no follow-up, there's no big revelation, and these congressional hearings, they're just kicking the can down the road and we don't get anywhere. Why is this the case, Norio?
Well, that's a million-dollar question because, you know, it happens every year and there's nothing new. And basically, to me, it's a good phrase that we can use. There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, right. We have gone through all these things year after year after year, and even right now, there's still no conclusion. And so that's why it's called a mystery, unsolved mystery of modern day and olden day sightings of strange things reportedly seen in the sky that have been gone for ages. And so basically, a lot of researchers are going through the same thing. You know, they have heard about all these things for years and years, and yet we are not even one step closer, even today, as to really find out what these things are. We are not even one step closer than in 1947.
I find that amazing. You know, like it's been, if we go back, okay, we go back to the alleged beginning of the UFO phenomenon. So that would be June 24th, 1947 with Kenneth Arnold. But then we can take it back to 44 time frame with the Foo Fighters, the B-17 pilots, the B-24 pilots, the B-29 pilots. But then we can go back even further than that. Why don't we know anything? It's been 80 years. Why don't we know anything? What's going on here?
Well, what's going on is that mankind is just totally perplexed about all these things, despite the tremendous advance in modern technology and science, development in artificial intelligence, development in amazing military technology that we have. We still don't know the answer to the basic question, and that is, what is reality? As I've said many times, we still don't know what reality really is, but there are some researchers that are interested in finding out what reality is, what dimensions are, and what is extraterrestrial civilization, and what is interdimensional, or better yet, extra-dimensional phenomenon. So we are at this stage not even one closer to finding out the truth, but we have to keep searching, you know, because if we stop searching, you know, I don't think we'll go anywhere. But you know, slowly but surely, we are beginning to understand the complexity of physics and you know, the quantum you know, mechanics, and you know, so we are just beginning to just scratch that surface. So I respect you know, researchers that have delved into this, such as, for example, Dr. Michio Kaku has been, you know, producing some excellent articles or, you know, programs explaining the possibilities of you know, this entire universe. But you know, I'm interested in this phenomenon because I also am a supporter of people like you know, that Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking said that it's great to, you know, get to know the bottom of this, you know, this truth and this universe, and trying to get in touch with maybe advanced civilizations. But he also gave a warning that we shouldn't be trying to reach out to the the unknown intelligences out in outer space because it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. But, you know, he said that it's the same thing as what happened to the local native of American continent who, you know, were discovered by, you know, people like Christopher Columbus. And when an advanced civilization encounters a primitive civilization, there's always a kind of a control factor that the advanced ones seem to control the primitive people. So there's a danger in that. So we have to be very careful, but I think it's too late because mankind has been sending all kinds of signals to the universe.
Right.
Yeah, already for almost 80 years or maybe longer. So if there are really intelligent entities there, by now they should have found out about our existence.
Now, speaking globally, Norio, all around the world, it's been well known that there are hundreds of thousands of UFO sightings per year, all around the world, globally, hundreds of thousands. But yet, experts tell us that only 10% of UFO sightings ever get reported. So if we extrapolate what that means, we could be potentially talking about millions of sightings. Why don't we see more good quality camera photographs of these things?
Well, that's another good question. Perhaps these entities may not necessarily want their presence, you know, photographed, and maybe they have come up with something to create some kind of a shield against, you know, photographic technology or against cameras. And so maybe this is the reason why we have yet to find a clear picture of UFOs or flying saucers. Even with the proliferation of cell phones in this age, we have yet to see any clear, perfectly clear photo of, you know, physical extraterrestrial craft, if there are such a thing. So that is another mystery. And, you know, I mentioned to you that in 1950 there was an amazing UFO incident in Farmington, New Mexico. And hundreds of folks in Farmington watched during broad daylight, hundreds, I mean up to, let's say, from 100 to 400 metallic looking silver flying saucer shaped objects doing all kinds of maneuverings for 1 hour each day for 3 days in a row in March of 1950 over the town of Farmington. And yet, even to this date, we haven't seen any photograph of these things flying over their town. And so it's a mystery, like I said.